Hello and welcome to At Home with Mindy. Today we're going to make a Victoria sponge cake. For this you need 175 grams of castor sugar and 175 grams of margarine or softened butter. We're going to want to cream the two things together. This can take a while. So while I'm creaming this, I'll just explain why we're choosing a Victoria sandwich. I've noticed on Facebook this last week during the lockdown that a lot of the little cafes and tea shops around my way are saying that they'll do a delivery box, and they showed a Victoria sponge cake, which is what this will be. And one of the companies is actually charging £15 for the whole cake. And to me, I had to laugh, because to me this is one of the cheapest cakes, because you're literally using the basic sponge mix of margarine, flour, eggs and sugar. I really don't see how it can cost £15 to make. So for all the beginners out there, I thought we should start with a nice, easy, simple cake before we start going on to the more elaborate cakes. Yeah, it's not got any expensive ingredients in this one, so it's a good one for students who want to start cooking their own food, or if you're just trying to keep your children entertained. It's always a easy one to start off with, but I still couldn't believe it, £15. And another company are doing a picnic sort of set for yourself, and it was 2 scones, 2 slices of Victoria cake with a little bit of jam and cream on the side for you to put on yourself, and that one was £12 I think. Oh, with 2 little vanilla whirls. And I don't see how you can justify spending way more than an hour's wage if you're paid hourly, because especially if you're in the 18 to 21 range, I think you get less than £6 an hour. But that is starting to get creamed. You can see the colours paler than if it was just margarine. You can do this with an electric whisk, but obviously the camera is going to pick up the sound, so I thought I'd try doing it by hand first. Plus, not all students will have things like electric mixers. So I have got mine handy, and mine is just a basic one from Tesco's where you push your own bits in. I think it was less than £10. But we will try by hand first, see how easy it can be. See, it feels nice and soft. So once you've got it to the nice soft bit, you've got 3 beaten eggs that we need to add. I've already cracked my eggs off screen to make sure that no baby chicks or anything came out, because one of the eggs felt heavy and I was a bit scared that maybe it'd been fertilised or something. So we'll just beat the eggs together. You can add them one at a time if you want, but I'm just going to do it this way and add like a third at a time. And then you want to cream. It feels really loose and scary sometimes because it'll go lumpy. If it does that, you can just add a little teaspoon of your flour. Seems to help it come together better. And I'm not sure if it's on camera all the time, so I have to hold it up in the air. Let me just adjust the angle because it looks a bit high. Oh, how do I do that? No, I'll have to pull the camera back instead, I can't adjust it. There. Right. So once that one's all mixed in, we can add in a bit more. Another thing I find easy when you're making cakes is if you can measure all your ingredients out first, it's just handier, else you end up forgetting something. Yeah, I'm going to add another teaspoon of flour again. Just means we won't have to stir so much in afterwards, so makes it all good, doesn't it? It's the second one stirred in. We should better do this last one in one go. But I love using these resealable boxes. Makes it nice and easy. Once we've got this one stirred in, so you can't see the egg anymore, then we'll be able to do the flour. Because I'm doing it by hand, I'm going to do a little bit at a time and hopefully not make too much mess. So hopefully you're all keeping well and you can actually get hold of some flour. Now the shoulders are starting to ache. But all my ingredients this time came from Lidl's. So it was the 69p baking margarine, the 45p bag of flour, the eggs, I think they actually came from Home Bargains. I think it was 89p for 10, and the sugar came from Home Bargains as well, so that was 69p for a kilo bag, which is much better value than Tesco's, and it was the same brand. So if you can shop around sometimes, it does pay to. I'm very lucky because where I live, Tesco's, Lidl's and Home Bargains are all on the same road. Right. So that's all stirred in, and you'll want a nice drop on it. If it drops nice and easy like that, that should mean it's been stirred in nicely. When you're stirring it, try and lift it a bit so that you can get some air into it. I'm sorry about the noise, that's my fan on the oven that I'm preheating to 180 degrees. And I still made a mess with the flour. Then if you can get your hands on 2 of these sandwich tins, I think Poundland sell them at £1 each. You'll just want to grease the bottom and the sides of the tin. I'm using my fingers because I wash my hands anyway. So we're just going to run a bit of margarine around the sides and the bottom. Maybe a bit too generous on the margarine, but and a little bit around the sides. This is just to help stop the cake from sticking. And because these type of tins aren't the spring loaded type, I've cut out some circles of greaseproof paper, and I just literally turned these upside down and drew around and then cut it a bit smaller. But this is greaseproof paper, parchment paper, baking paper, it's all the same. It's just something to help the cake come out the bottom when you finish cooking. Move those out the way. So the cake mixture, we want to split into the two tins as evenly as we can. So we'll start with one big dollop in each one. I'm not sure if these are 18 or 20 centimetre tins, because mine came with a gift set that was reduced, so I brought two of them. They were meant to be Christmas presents, but I decided to keep them, so I am sorry to the two ladies that never got them. I decided to think about myself, and I realised that I needed the baking tins. That's a greedy mama for you, isn't it? Right, so then we just try and push it around as much as to the sides. I'm wondering now if I'm supposed to have used the huge tins, but it doesn't look like it's going to leave a lot of room for rising. So if you see my previous videos, I do tend to shock myself at thinking it's not going to fit, and then it did. And so hopefully it'll all be good. And it doesn't matter if you don't get all the way in, because it will soften up in the oven and it will spread itself out. The main thing with a Victoria sponge, if you find out that your tins are too small, the next time you make it you could do a 2 egg one instead, because the average egg weighs 2 ounces, so you would use 2 ounces of flour, 2 ounces of sugar for each egg that you're putting in. Same with if you want to increase it, for each egg increase the other ingredients by 2 ounces. So they look like they're quite high to the top, but we're going to put these in the oven now for, I think it was 25 minutes. So I'll see you again in 25 minutes when it's all done. Bye. Hello and welcome back to At Home with Mindy. It's been 25 minutes and they've haven't risen too far, this one, but it's nice and soft to the touch, and when I stabbed it with a fork it did come out clean. But this one I shouldn't have put quite so much in, because it's actually come, see if I can get a better angle, it's actually come over the tin a little bit, so we'll have to tidy that up before we can sandwich the two together. But we'll let them cool for a few seconds. And while that's cooling, even in the tin, we'll make some, what will we do? We will try and get them out the tin actually. Yeah, it's not stuck too badly, but let's see if we can just get you back in. I've got myself all in the bother now because of the tin going too high. We'll try seeing if it will come out. because you're supposed to be able to run the knife around, but where it's gone over the edge, it's making it a little bit difficult to get round. I think what we need to do with this one actually is maybe chop the top off now, because it's definitely in my way. Luckily we're sandwiching 2 cakes together, but we probably shouldn't be cutting it while it's this hot. A plate now. See, this is real life cooking when it all goes wrong. See, I'm going to take this top bit off. Right. There's the top bit that we don't need, so we will put it over the other side. And this bit is going to get jam on it anyway, so it shouldn't matter too much. And it's, yeah, it has come out of the tin now. See, it would have been fine if it hadn't gone over the edges. And we'll just throw the paper away so that bit can allow the steam to escape from here, while we try to get the other cake out the tin. Run the knife around first. I think I should have floured the side of the tin where the paper wasn't. Maybe the butter helped it stick too much, but that one has come out. And we'll take the paper off so it can cool down. Right. What we'll do is we'll serve this one on the tray, then the little crumbs won't be seen. But where's my bowl? So the cakes are going to go towards the back. This is because I'm trying to get dinner ready at the same time. I'm getting too ahead of myself. So some people do a Victoria sponge with just jam, and then other people do buttercream and jam or normal cream and jam. Whoops. And I hardly ever buy cream, so we'll be using buttercream. And for buttercream, you'll need 100 grams of butter or margarine and 200 grams of icing sugar. And this will probably get messy. We're going to try and put them together with the electric whisk. It will be noisy. And it is going to probably... Yep. Oh! I haven't made this for a while, buttercream. I'm going to try stirring it with a wooden spoon first. Try and get some of it together, because I think this video may be a bit on the disastrous size. Got a feeling I should have added the icing sugar a little bit at a time. But because I'm down to 2 teenagers, when I used to have 5 children, but they've all moved out, I did stop making cakes for so long because I was convinced myself that it was cheaper to buy shop bought ones. So I'm a bit out of practice. Right, we've got a bit of icing sugar in, so maybe we could try the mixer again. Now that the icing sugar's definitely, I will give it a quick show. See if we can do it this way. Make sure you're storing shut. We'll start it on number 1. Doesn't help that the margarine's only just come out of the fridge, so I had to start a new packet. Once it's come together like that, we should be able to turn it up a little bit. It feels quite stiff and you can see it's not moving. So one thing they do say is you can put a little bit of milk in. I think it's a tablespoon of milk to help soften it up. But I don't want to put uncooked milk into a cake mixture. I feel that will shorten its life. Yeah, because you wouldn't want to keep, this cake will keep for roughly a week if you can put it in a tin. So we'll just beat it a bit. That should be fine. You don't really need the milk, so I'm not going to use it. But I will get rid of the mixer. Right. Just give me 2 seconds to tidy up this little area and calm myself down. Because I never make this much mess when I'm not on camera, even though it's only my hands you're seeing. Right. So, right, with the bottom half of the cake, it's cool enough now, we're going to use some of the 28p jam that I like. And we'll put this on the bottom layer. You can be as generous as you want with this because it's a cake. It deserves to be spoiled. I think somewhere I'm going wrong because I'm rushing as well, trying to make the videos not too long. So I don't know if people would prefer that I slow down and maybe just have the video a bit longer. But I really don't want anybody getting bored from it being too long. But not all things can be cooked in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Right. That's a nice, I'd say a generous quarter of the jar maybe. It was about half a jar. So that's a nice generous layer. And then with the other half, we'll just trim this bit up. My oven, where it's a fan one, I keep forgetting that you've got to have it slightly lower than a normal oven. So it did cook a little bit quick on the back. That might have been okay if I'd turned the cake halfway through, but I didn't want to open the door because cakes might sink then. But we won't need all this buttercream. It's just on the side of a box of this, they do tell you how to make butter icing, and I've just copied the same method. So then we just spread the butter icing around a bit. So if you put this half on a plate, then it does make it easier for spinning, but we'll put that bit on that side because that's too much. But this is more down to taste how thick you like your icing. So it doesn't need to be hugely thick, but it looks nicer when it's got yummy icing. And of course you can put a bit of vanilla extract in, but I quite like my icing just plain. Not everything has to taste of vanilla. Right, and we'll put that to one side. Right, and now the fun bit will be trying to assemble it. So we've got our one that we had to alter on the bottom, and now we're going to try and lift this one onto the top like that. You don't need to worry about this is where it got stuck, because you should put it on a cooling rack, which I found out I don't have anymore. But to correct that, if you've got a sieve, this bit works wonders. Because you should do this on a Victoria sponge anyway. It does say to dust the top with a bit of icing sugar. So doesn't make it taste any different, but it does improve the look, which we greatly need on this one. So that helps disguise the little disaster on the top where I've gone too far and put it on didn't have any ventilation for the steam to escape when I turned it upside down. Right, I could make this again in a couple of years after lots of practice and it will look very professional, but like I said, I haven't been cake baking a lot because it didn't seem worth it with only 2 children home. But that is how you know it's a homemade Victoria sponge cake. And at least this one didn't cost £15 though, like I said they are on Facebook. So that will be okay. And then to really test it, we'll just take a, yeah, you are still in shot. We'll take a knife and we'll cut a nice size section out. Because only got to do 4 of us, but that is what a Victoria sponge cake looks like using the cheaper brands in the shop. The cheaper flour, the cheaper butter, the jam was cheap, icing was cheap. And because of our nice little disaster, we got this bit we can nibble on before anybody else even knows that there's a cake made. The hubby when he gets home won't even know about this bit, it'll be gone. So if you'd like to see more disasters, cooking, you're welcome to come back. I will try to do it slower next time, but welcome back next time, yeah? Thank you. Bye.